Hello, Genie lovers. Hope you have a great holiday. Today, I want to share with you about your hair growth journey. GeenyLove has been amazing to most of us. We've seen amazing growth, but some people, their growth has been slow, so they've been having questions. And I'd love to actually explain the science behind our hair growth, so that out there, if your hair is not growing as fast as your sister or your friend, you won't have any pressure. So, our hair goes through three phases of growth. The first is the growing phase, the second is the resting phase, and the third is the shading phase. So this growing phase differs depending on our genetics. It's totally independent, not on the products we used on our hair, not on anything, but basically on the genetics and how we eat, how we actually do most of the thing, if we exercise, if we do all that. And this period might last from 3 years and it goes on to 7 years depending on your hair type and your genetics. For example, Asians have had the highest growing phase among many other people, and they have the longest hair because they have up to 7 years of the growing phase. The second phase is the resting phase. At this phase, your hair starts to rest. The bulb that is enlarged at the root of your hair to actually push out the growth will start coming up and tightening up. Your hair will rest for actually 3 months or excess, depending on your genetics too. During this period, you won't experience any type of growth. Even if you're using a product, you won't experience any type of growth. So where products come in at this phase is, you actually, for example, for me, during my resting phase, GeenyLove is very essential because at this point, your hair is not deeply rooted to your head. The bulb is coming outside because it's heading towards the shading phase. So what happens is you start retaining the growth that you had before. The growing phase, you actually had like up to 7 inches of growth probably. So during this phase of resting, what you do, you have to actually retain your growth so that you won't lose your hair. That's why I encourage people, if you have natural hair, you spray your GeenyLove around your hair. For example, this is my hair, it's been sewed in here. What I do, I actually just spray the tips of my hair like that. I massage it in. This will help my hair to stay moisturized, so that in case any hair is at the resting phase, it won't shade off. It will still remain strong because I'm moisturizing it and I'm using oils that will actually strengthen and retain it. So the science behind hair growth is actually mostly maintaining the length that you've experienced, actually maintaining that length, avoiding combing your hair too much, as I always encourage you people, will help you, will enhance your hair growth, because when the shading period comes, your hair will not fall off because you've been retaining it, you've been strengthening it with the best oils you've been using. So after the resting phase, there comes the shading phase. During the shading phase, your hair now starts falling out. That's why most of the time you will see you have a piece of a very long hair falling out. When you comb your hair probably, or you just pull it out, you see a long piece of hair falling out. This is called the shading phase. So your hair starts shading off because it's preparing for another phase of growing. So the bulb goes deep down again and the process repeats itself. You start the growing phase again. So what I encourage you Genie lovers is, ensure you actually spray on your hair, specifically on your hair, not even at the scalp, because your hair needs more care than your scalp, because your body naturally produces oils that pushes your hair smoothly outside your scalp. That's why I encourage people not to use a lot of maybe solid oil, because you will close your pores. When the natural oils inside your body trying to push out your hair, they'll find too much clot on the surface and the growth will not come out. So you might not actually experience hair growth. Instead, you will experience ingrowth and your hair will be locked inside. So you'll start, your skin will start feeling rough, and you'll start maybe having dandruff or itchiness or some lumps around your head. So I encourage people, spray the product on your hair and then massage it slightly. And it's amazing because this product is not oily, so it does not cause clottiness on your pores, because when you spray it, it just get absorbed because it's a mist. It's absorbed inside the hair, and that's all. The three phases I explained, they do not happen to your hair all at once. The growing phase, the resting phase and the shading phase is actually happening to your hair every time. So 95% of your hair every day is actually experiencing the growing phase. Sometimes like 20% is experiencing the shading phase, like 10% is experiencing the resting phase. So at any particular time in your head, there are three phases going on in different hairs. That's why most of the time you'll find that your hair is longer here, shorter here. It's because all the head does not experience the phases at the same time, or else we will be bald at some point, because if shading period came once, all our hair would fall off, and that is not advisable. So God made it in a special way such that our hair will be experiencing the three phases at the same time. So we won't even notice, because the growing phase is actually a higher percentage, so we won't notice the shading if we take care of our hair. If you don't use combs, if you do finger detangling as I do, or you use the big spaced combs to comb your hair, you handle your hair with care, you actually spray your hair, you'll be retaining that length that you've had before. You'll be strengthening the roots of your hair, the tips of your hair. So most of the time when the shading comes, it might actually not affect you largely as someone who's actually combing, because when you're combing all the time, so your hair will be forced out during the resting period, because it's not deeply rooted in your hair, as I've explained. As you go on with your journey, it's okay to know that not all hair types are the same. So not all genetics are the same. So your hair might not grow as fast as mine, as fast as someone else. That's why you see our GeenyLove before and after. They're not all the same. Some people have faster response, some people have slower response. So what you have to do is embrace your type and go with the journey. Trust the process. The tips I give you are very high, because most of the time when you exercise them, they enrich your hair, your strength, so your hair will not be falling off during these phases. And depending on your genetics, your hair will get longer at its own time. So keep on taking care of your hair, because it's actually about the care and the small things you do to your hair that will make the difference. I'm really happy to share that information with you, because many people have been having concerns about it, and I'll be sharing much more. I wish you a happy holiday, and don't give up on your hair. Beauty is a journey, and it takes time, and patience is key. Thank you guys. Bye bye.